Yo, what is up, guys? Connor here. Thought I would make a little change the mic settings. Okay, there we go. Thought I'd make a vlog for you. I actually wanted to make I guess, continuation of the Deputy Dipshit, simply because a lot of you seem to actually like the subject. So I'm actually feeling a lot better today. So I thought I would continue with the subject. This is a brand new microphone. So hopefully it'll sound a little bit better. I'm still really nasally and, not, full and, full of potential or whatever it's called. But yeah, I actually have to figure out what to do in this video. Because I really don't feel like running all the way back to Curdell's dungeon. Because I have to do that all the time. And I don't have any skills I can do, NRS. So, what to do? Anyway, so the other day I was over Drew's house. I'm actually gonna change accents here. The other day I was over at Drew's house, like I normally am, and like on this other day after school, what happens is I come home from school and I go into the bathroom, take a dump, and yeah, so I'll take a dump and then watch some TV or something like that, and I thought it didn't type. This guy's not talking to me, or he's talking to me, I don't know why. Oh shit, stop it. Okay, oh my god, I just got an email and a text message at the same exact time. Okay, anyway. Anyway, let's do that, and then that, and then that. Okay, there we go. Alright, so what happened was, I went over Drew's, is like normal, right? And so his neighbour, he's got like, his neighbour's like quite old, and the grandparents, so what they do is like, since the grandparents is like, the children, they had kids, so obviously grandchildren. So the grandchildren go over their house all the time, and they live in Decatur. So I think they dropped them off there for like the summer or something, even though it's not the summer quite yet. But what happened is that me and Drew were just like hanging out, and they were like, "Hey, you want to teach these kids how to ride a bike?" And we're like, okay, I've never really taught someone how to ride a bike before. I've been taught how to ride a bike. So what happened is like these guys are like the nicest old people you'll find around, and what they did is I'm actually gonna make sure. Okay, it's actually right. Sorry, I had problems before with it recording my voice. Anyway, so what happened was they turned out to be like 72 years old, and then like they're too old to do like any of that like running stuff, and like, okay, I'm gonna hold on to the back of the bike, but you're gonna have to ride slow because I'm like 70 years old. I don't want to fall, break a hip. So what happened is that me and Drew, they're two kids, and I think one's like 8 and one's like 9. And then the 9-year-old one is it's the older one, which is how I'm referring to, and the younger one, he's the chubbier one, and then the younger one is like he's real skinny. It reminds me of myself, which like I'm a scrawny dude, but like yeah, that's about it. But so he's scrawny. So we're teaching them how to ride a bike, and so we taught them how to ride these mini bikes, and then the other day the grandparents come home, and these kids already mastered how to ride the bike with the mini bikes, and they're quite cool, and they got it all down and all that. And so what they thought is that, oh yeah, now that they know how to ride a bike, we're going to get them bigger bikes. So what they did is they went out to like Toys R Us, so whatever, they got these bikes, and they got them a Mongoose and some type of other bike, and I don't know what the other bike was, but what they did is that they bought them bigger bikes, and now these bikes are like, I'm 15 years old, and like the bike that I use is medium-sized BMX bike, and what they got these kids is the same exact type of bike I got, only my bike's a lot more expensive. I got a Haro, for anyone who doesn't know, but they went out and bought these kids two like BMX bikes type things, and the pedals are up high, and like if you were to raise the seats, they can't reach the pedals, and if you were to keep the seat the way it was, then it hurts for them to pedal and they're too far off the ground. So what I thought is that maybe they should use the mini bikes, and they didn't like that idea. So what they did with the mini bikes is like they put them in the basement, while me and Drew went to do something else, and moved into my house. So we taught these kids how to ride like these big bikes, and you know they're not catching on too easily now because they can't like pedal as easily. So like which one? That's a cool name. Anyway, so the guy's copying my mojo. I'm Blake. I'm Connor. That guy. That's an L though. That's not an I think. Anyway, so we pretty much had to retry to teach these kids how to ride a bike. And for those of you who don't know, riding a bike is it's like learning how to walk again. But only these guys had like absolutely no balance on these giant bikes. So what they did is like we taught them how to ride them going down hills. Now they can balance on the bikes and they can somewhat use the brakes, but they can't pedal as much. So they've got to actually be going fast to begin with, and then they can start pedaling and they can continue with the speed that they were going before. So anyway, we finished teaching these kids how to ride a bike, and Deputy Dildo came around, and he saw me and Drew talking to the elder fellow that was there, and this guy is probably around 72, 73 years old, and this guy's wearing like a leather jacket, thinking that it's still hip, and pretty much what you're talking about the whole time would say like we would talk about guns and how like firing ranges and stuff like that, and like 20 gauges, 12-8, all that, and he was telling us this story about how he's got like an AA-12 type of thing, only it's got a 3-round magazine, it's fully automatic, so pretty much what he does is when he used to go out hunting when he was like 30 years old, he'd bring that gun around, and his friend always had this single shot, and so his friend was always like a booster, and always like, oh yeah, I can hit it, and so his friend always missed shots and he always got them and all that. So that was his story for us. But anyway, Deputy Dildo drove around, and as we were sitting on his driveway, it was quite chilly out. I had my hood up, and he drove around, and he saw me and he saw Drew, and he thought that I lived there in the house. So what he did is he stopped right in front of his house, and he just stopped there. He didn't even roll down his window. But what I thought was quite weird is that when he drove around the second time, he had this kid in his car again. So obviously he's trying to show his kid up and show this kid, oh look, I can outwit some 15-year-olds, and I'm much better at life than these guys are. And I said R. The Australians don't use the they go like that. Anyway, so he's much better than these 15-year-olds are. And then so what we did is, we saw him, and we just looked at him. I mean, I didn't even wave. I'm like, I'm not even gonna give this guy the satisfaction of knowing that I knew that he's there. So I knew that he was there, and the old guy saw him there, and we got some background information about this guy. And this guy seems to be, he's 35 years old. He's got to be the new guy. He's updated on technology. And apparently his job is he works for the neighborhood association. He doesn't get paid at all for doing it. And the reason why he does it is he does it for hidden benefits, which like it reduces the taxes on his house. No. What I find is weird in particularly is that it's his dad's old house. So his old house before it was a nice house before. It was 2 houses down from the one he's got now, but it was a little bit bigger. And so that was almost right on the corner lot. It's got like a pool and all that, and it was quite a nice house just before we had a disagreement. And I went over that house I think like once with a couple of friends, and the kid was just showing us his airsoft guns, and we were like, oh, that's pretty cool, and like ATVs, and we were thinking about driving them out and in the park and all that. So anyway, we went over his house, and when I was there around, I think it was like last summer, we had a little argument about how he's got no work, so he just come through under the bush because like it was like the city that I'm in is kind of in like this bubble, and like the economy didn't really affect it until like about a month ago. So what was weird is that this guy, he now works for pretty much the neighborhood, and he makes absolutely no money. So what I found out is that his dad owned the old house, and his dad is still alive, but his dad moved away. And he used to live with his dad until he turned, I think, 32, and his dad moved away. So his dad gave him the house, but he couldn't afford it. So what he did is he sold the house and able to go and buy a new one. And so instead of leaving the neighbourhood as he wanted his lower taxes, is that they offered him a job for lower taxes and to move into that new house for lower than it really was worth. And the people who lived in the house before got it foreclosed, and apparently it smelled like shit. And so this guy's pretty much spent the last 2 years of his life fixing up this house. And so this guy has no job. His wife doesn't have a job. They're borrowing cars from his brother, and that truck that he owns, the red one that's got whiteness on the edges, like a white trim, it's not even his car. The house of his is, he sold his dad's old house from behind his dad's back, and then he bought a new one. And so his dad hasn't been in his house in ages, and this is pretty much all dirt that I got from the 72-year-old from down the street. And so he thought it was kind of weird thinking about how this 34-year-old's way of entertainment, instead of watching television or maybe playing some video games, is now instead trying to pick on 15-year-old kids. Now, the reason why I think that this is so weird, and why this guy really has no real life, is that he's been stalking me for the past around 2 weeks now. And this guy's been so desperate in trying to find out where I live, is that he's actually been going over my next door neighbour's house and trying to help him fix up his yard. Now, it's weird about this is that when I come home from school and I see his truck right outside my house, I'm thinking it's a little suspicious. So I rush inside, and I'm going, and he's obviously not inside my house. My dad's still sleeping, and I look at my window and I see him outside, and he's helping him put in the in-ground sprinkling system. And this guy's literally been following me around, so I thought it was weird, not only because he was there, but simply because, he's so close to where I live, and, just the sheer fact of knowing where I live just would drive me absolutely bonkers. So what we did was, at least what I did, is that I wanted to go play Airsoft with Drew. So he's got his own property, obviously, at his own house, and what we did is I was going to go over there and play some Airsoft, and instead of actually being found by this guy, because I didn't want him seeing me, what I did is that I put on my paintball mask, which I used a full face mask with Airsoft, and I put that on, and then right before I left the house, I made sure that I put on a hoodie that he's never seen before, and then I faced my back to him the whole time. Now, you may think that this is weird about me doing this, but this guy knowing where I live is going to give him the satisfaction of knowing that if I ever do anything to him, is that he knows exactly where I live and knows exactly where my parents are. And that'll drive me absolutely bonkers, and I don't want that. So this guy's actually, these guys are railroad traders. There's no way. Actually, send public on. No, they must be friends. So this guy's actually been following me for the past 3 days, and he hasn't really been doing much. Okay, they're not even speaking English. Okay, so in the way, I received a lot of background information from this guy down the street, and this guy's quite well knowledge, and he was friends with the guy's dad before he gave his house away, and so this guy's an absolute piece of shit. And Drew's dad, which I don't think I mentioned this, is a detective. Now, what he did is that Drew's dad actually went over to Deputy Dipshit's house, and his dad's a detective, and he's got one of those blackout vans, the ones that everyone sees in the movies and stuff like that detectives wear or drive. Anyway, sorry, I don't know. I said wear there. Hold on, let me take a swig of water. And so, what he does is, his dad goes outside and knocks on the door a little bit, and Deputy Dildo is actually inside his house. And what he does is he opens up the door and he says, "Hello, who are you?" And he says nothing, and he's just observing what this guy is saying. And now he hasn't shown him his badge or anything like that. He didn't go with the immediate effect that Deputy Dildo did and pulled out his empty wallet and trying to impress some kids and telling them that, "Oh, look, I'm the higher authority here. Obviously, you guys have no idea what you're doing, which is pretty much what he did to me. So, what he did is he just stood there, and when Deputy Dildo didn't get the proper, I guess, speaking to from him or response from him, he didn't like that. So he continued to ask him who he was, and then he started calling him white trash, and that calling a detective white trash is not breaking any laws. That's simply a slang meaning, and it also has different meanings to the word white trash. What it could also mean is that you're white and that you're like a trash person or something like that. There really isn't no head on heels for the word. Like if you were to say fuck, like that obviously means sex. So you could also say sex you, which is the same meaning, but people say the F word simply because it sounds more masculine, I guess you could say. Now what this guy did is that he kept calling him white trash and that he's your bitch and that you got to get off my lawn and all that stuff, and you're off my property. And so what he did is that he saw what he told his car, and he said, "No, I don't like your attitude. I'm gonna call the cops on you." And so as he's calling the cops and he's ringing them up, Drew's dad walks in his car, and Deputy Dildo didn't like that, so he asked him what he was doing, and he was like, "No, you got to stay here. I'm calling the cops, and they're gonna get you, and they're gonna arrest you, and all that." And so what Drew's dad does is he steps in the car, he keeps the door open, and he gets on the PA system, which I don't know if I've already mentioned this. And he goes, call your mum too, bitch. And so what you can do is when you listen to the PA system, that's a thing that's like outside the car, that's quite loud, and that's what cops use to usually talk people either off the ledge or tell people to put your hands up in the air that are in buildings. And so as this guy was telling him that he's going to call the cops, and he says, "Call your mum too, you little bitch." And as he drives away, yeah. Alright, sorry, my mum walked in. And so as he was driving away, we saw this guy, and he literally hanged up the phone right away. Now, I don't think he actually called anyone, because apparently he said that he called the cops, but I do actually think that was an exaggeration, simply just to get the guy off his property. Now this guy's been mind fucked for the past 2-3 weeks, and he has absolutely no idea what's going on. And this guy's going to do absolutely anything he can to get the edge in the argument. So I found that I've actually gotten quite a few responses saying that the Deputy Dildo commentaries have actually been going quite good. So I think I might actually step in and try to aggravate this guy just a little bit more. Not to the point to where he tries to turn me into the police or call the police again, but simply just to get another story. This guy has such a short fuse that I think that pretty much anything I'll do when he sees me will get him off the edge and will make him want to call the police or pretty much do anything, or at least approach me in a harmful way. And that's pretty much what my goal is. Now I'm going to get this all in film, and the film that I'll use is I can't actually use that in any of my commentaries. Please don't. I'm gonna hide from this guy. He's on my friends list, and I really don't feel like talking to him right now. So my private's off. He's probably thinking I'm ignoring him. This is a friend who I always do Slayer with all the time, and I used to run into him when doing Slayer projects. But anyway, so what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna ride my bike over by his house, and hopefully if he's outside in his garage, where usually is our garage, if he gives me a piece of his mind, I'll be sure to get it on video. And now the only way I could use the video is if either I had permission from him, or if the police actually say it's alright for me to put it on YouTube. Because when I talked to the police 2 weeks ago, he actually said that the video that I had on my phone I should delete. Now I kept the video on my phone for one simple reason, and one reason only. It's because just in case this guy does try to come back and say that he didn't say something or do that, or say that he didn't do something that he didn't do, I'll have perfect proof of it. Now this guy's been being an absolute raging douchebag for the past couple of weeks, so I've got absolutely no mercy or any sympathy for this guy at all. So pretty much that's gonna wrap up this commentary. Now the next one that I'm gonna do is probably going to be about the same subject. Well, it's gonna be something a little different. Now I do want to mention one thing is that I did get my class ring in. I think I got it in yesterday, and right now it's 9:30 at night. I'm trying to do all my commentaries a little bit early in the day, but it seems like I'm too busy most of the time. It's either like today, what I was doing is that I mowed the lawn right when I got home. Actually, no, I took a dump, went over Drew's, and then mowed the lawn. And then once I was done mowing the lawn, I found myself watching a whole bunch of car shows with my father, with my dad. So I walked into my room and saw it was 8:30, and then I thought, alright, maybe I should play a little RS. And then I got sidetracked with a Runescape video. And my videos are actually becoming quite entertaining lately with the podcasts, and now you can see the face, and they've actually turned out quite the way I thought they would be. But I'm actually going to end the video now. I know y'all don't like my long videos, but you guys suck it up if you're going to watch them anyway. Now, if you did watch through the whole video, thank you for doing so. And more Deputy Dildo stories should be out quite shortly, so thank you all for watching, and as always, have a nice day.